Tina Peters, a name now synonymous with election controversy, hails from the quiet landscapes of Mesa County, Colorado. Her early life was seemingly unremarkable, a narrative shared by many who find themselves thrust into the national spotlight. Peters' journey into the public eye began with her election as the Mesa County Clerk and Recorder in 2018. This position, often overlooked, would become the platform from which Peters would launch her controversial foray into the heart of American democracy. Little did she know, this unassuming role would catapult her into a maelstrom of legal battles and accusations that would reverberate far beyond the borders of her rural Colorado County. As the Mesa County Clerk and Recorder, Peters assumed responsibility for the administration of elections, a role that placed her at the very heart of the democratic process. Initially, her tenure was unremarkable, her duties carried out with little fanfare or controversy. However, the winds of change were already beginning to stir. The 2020 presidential election, a watershed moment in American history, would prove to be a turning point for Peters and set in motion a chain of events that would forever alter the course of her life. The seeds of doubt sown in the aftermath of the election would take root in Peters' mind, fueling her growing skepticism about the integrity of American elections. The 2020 presidential election, already fraught with tension and division, left an indelible mark on the American psyche. For some, like Tina Peters, the outcome of the election fueled a deep-seated distrust in the electoral process itself. Peters, echoing the sentiments of a growing chorus of skeptics, began to publicly question the validity of the election results. Her once steadfast belief in the integrity of American democracy began to waver, replaced by a growing conviction that something was amiss. This newfound skepticism would soon lead her down a perilous path, one that would pit her against the very institutions she had sworn to uphold. The controversy surrounding Tina Peters reached a fever pitch in 2021, when she was accused of facilitating a security breach involving Dominion Voting Systems, a company that provides election equipment and software in numerous states, including Colorado. Peters, it was alleged, had allowed unauthorized individuals access to sensitive voting data, a serious breach of protocol with potentially far-reaching consequences. The allegations sent shockwaves through Mesa County and beyond, casting a long shadow of suspicion over Peters and her actions. The Dominion Voting Systems incident thrust Peters into the national spotlight, transforming her from an obscure county clerk into a central figure in the heated debate over election integrity. Section 5. The Wall's close-in legal charges and mounting pressure. The Dominion Voting Systems incident triggered a swift and severe response from law enforcement agencies. Peters found herself facing a barrage of legal charges, including felony charges related to tampering with election equipment and official misconduct. The walls were closing in, and the once obscure county clerk now faced the very real prospect of imprisonment. As the legal battle intensified, Peters faced mounting pressure from all sides. Fellow election officials, once colleagues, distanced themselves, issuing scathing rebukes of her actions. The weight of her alleged crimes threatened to crush her, yet Peters remained defiant, her belief in her own innocence unwavering. Section 6. Defiance in the face of accusations, Peters' public stance. Despite the mounting legal challenges and the chorus of condemnation from former allies, Tina Peters remained unrepentant. She steadfastly maintained her innocence, portraying herself as a whistleblower, a courageous crusader exposing vulnerabilities in the American electoral system. Peters' public pronouncements, often delivered with a fiery conviction, resonated with a segment of the population deeply distrustful of government and suspicious of any information that challenged their worldview. Her defiance, however misguided, struck a chord with those who shared her skepticism, further fueling the flames of distrust and division that threatened to engulf the nation. Section 7. A fractured county, the impact on Mesa County and beyond. The controversy surrounding Tina Peters cast a long shadow over Mesa County, Colorado. The once peaceful community found itself deeply divided, with neighbors pitted against neighbors in heated debates about election integrity and Peters' alleged crimes. The trust that had long bound the community together, frayed by suspicion and fueled by misinformation, seemed to hang by a thread. The impact of Peters' actions extended far beyond the borders of Mesa County, serving as a stark reminder of the fragility of democratic institutions and the corrosive effects of disinformation. Her case became a rallying cry for those seeking to sow doubt about the legitimacy of American elections, further deepening the political chasm that threatened to divide the nation. Section 8. The National Stage Peters and the Election Integrity Movement. Tina Peters, once an obscure county clerk, found herself thrust onto the national stage, embraced by a growing movement fueled by distrust in the electoral process. She became a cause célèbre for those who believed, without evidence, that the 2020 presidential election had been stolen. Peters' legal battles and defiant rhetoric resonated with election deniers across the country, transforming her into an unlikely symbol of resistance against what they perceived as a rigged system. Her story, amplified by right-wing media outlets and embraced by prominent figures within the Republican Party, illustrated the extent to which election denialism had taken root in American society. Section 9. A Legacy Marred by Controversy. Reflections on the Tina Peters Saga. The story of Tina Peters is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the fragility of democratic institutions and the corrosive effects of disinformation. Her actions, driven by a toxic blend of misplaced conviction and a thirst for notoriety, eroded public trust in the electoral process and further divided a nation already grappling with deep political polarization. Peters' legacy will forever be marred by controversy, her name synonymous with election denialism and the erosion of democratic norms. Her story serves as a stark reminder of the importance of truth, accountability, and the preservation of the very foundations of American democracy.